Hello, everyone. Welcome. This thing sometimes I'm not too sure if I'm live or not. So let me know if there's anyone online. But today's topic is, being married to a Nigerian as a South African, as you all know, that is married to well, we're staying in as you know, again, we're staying in the UK. So I just wanted to touch base with you, my people. The shocking thing about being married to a Nigerian, firstly, is that when we started dating and then we got married in South Africa, just to give you the background, told me my first take is we've been married for, it's 10 years this year. And it never surprises me. you know, um, those of you that are either married or are Nigerians, you guys they have a way of saying things. Like, for example, my husband, uh, when I will ask him, like, "Hey, have you seen my phone?" or something like that, he'll be like, "Are we using it together?" So, it's endearing sometimes, but it can be annoying at the same time because they tell it as it is. So. Uh, and then we moved from Cape Town to Joburg and in South Africa. And then when we moved here, it's another story of the tradition. First of all, the language. We're in Manchester, but you know how the UK or Manchester accent is very strong, as in it's not the usual English. Like, how I speak English, they'll probably find it hard for me to also understand. First of all, the greeting is, you're right. Sometimes you're like, am I all right? Yeah, I'm okay. And, we used to, hello, how are you? I guess the South African English. So the language is different. And I've written some of the things like you're right. And the main thing about, British are it's always about the weather. So you either say you're right, or you could say, hey, this weather. Always obsessed about the weather. I remember one one uh, one person that I know. I was like, "Is it always about the weather?" It's like, yeah, because I'm British. That's what we talk about. The first thing is that. So, being married to a Nigerian, and it's always about work, food. Life is lifing, right? Um, I guess it's okay with my husband, being that um, he's a very private person, and me, I'm outgoing. So this place works for him because you don't have to talk much about anything, really. Um, so that's the language, basically. You're right, the weather, and then the politeness of when you're angry. Like if my husband is angry at you, he says it. Oh, us South Africans, if we're angry, like, man, you're really pissing me off, or something like that. Here, it's all like very gentle way of saying things. So we're also learning to not take things too hard. And then there's also the fact that the personalities are obviously about personal space. And as I think I've said that to you before, that my son has ADHD and ASD, so he's like out there. I remember first time we took him to school, we were like, don't just run to boys, but they were kind to him. Shame, the boys were quite nice to him. Boys older than him, but my husband was like, yeah, no, you need to learn personal space, boy. It's not the same here. So, but I find, and we find, both of us, that, you know, in this country, there is that politeness, especially when it comes to children. At least that's what we've seen. Some people might have different, might have had a different experiences, but from my end, I mean, wow. People here, especially with a child that has, challenges, They are so welcoming, so, so kind. So that's the language, the how are you, and then another thing that he couldn't also he finds strange is that, in Africa, it's like if I need something, same thing in South Africa. I guess it's I don't know, maybe black culture where you ask for sugar from next door. Like I said that in my other video before, it's like, if you don't have, you don't have, so stay in your lane. But when we came to the UK, our neighbors were quite nice. But because my husband is very reserved and I'm the one that's out there, they would bring their kids to play with our son. So, he would just make disappear somewhere. So so I guess this place works for a person like him with that kind of personality. So you won't see him a lot in my videos, or because he's quite clear. No, this is your thing. Very supportive of me. So I'm lucky that way. And I guess another thing is that, when you come to a different country, especially this place, is that it's very Western, obviously. So, like for example, I'm used to cooking for him. He's used to cooking for me. But in his culture, it's more about a woman cooking. There's boundaries basically. So him having lived in South Africa, it's different. He's a Yoruba, so they're quite strong in culture. But I guess he's had to make do with what he has to make do with to survive, So that's another difference. And then there is the next level, guys, is the food. Oh my gosh. So as I said before in my previous videos, it's the food we have to balance between, South Africa and Nigeria and, the UK. So South African food, similar to the UK, not so much though, but we do get South African food here. We are more on the Nigerian food. He's always been like that, even in South Africa. I guess it's because Nigerians, they travel a lot. So there is access to, South Africa, Nigerian food here. I'm lucky that I do have a bit of South African. There's some things that I miss. And if I need a bit of spices, we always go to an Indian shop. So I guess we're lucky that way, and that's partly why the UK works for us. I know we've got friends in Canada that are always complaining that, firstly, the Nigerian food is expensive, but in Canada. But here, it's reasonable and accessible. We can go you go to Liverpool, downtown Manchester, and even when we're in London, it's even great in London because, I love my sister-in-law's food. So being a Nigerian wife, you just kind of, I guess for me, it's always, I'm so stuck with Eba. And I think my husband is always thinking, yeah, maybe something's wrong with you, So that's the food side, is that he tries to really survive, but I don't think there's much change. He's just stuck to his food. And I remember when I got married, my brother-in-law, that's the first thing he said to me. He said, your husband loves Nigerian food, so don't try to, because I love my pastas. I like to just experiment, and I find that he's also flexible with it. I love, for example, in Christmas, all I do is Gordon Ramsay's dishes, his Brussels sprouts, and the way he does his turkey. The only thing that I don't understand, guys, and I know, sorry, my British friends, is the Sunday roast. I still haven't tried that. And I'll just try it because, I have to honor the country that I'm in, and I appreciate them giving us this opportunity to spend some time in their country. So I will do that just to, It's that thing. I don't know. What do they call that thing that looks like the pudding that comes with? So I'm thinking, why is salt, sweetness? I don't know. I have to figure it out. So forgive me for not trying that out. So, but apart from that, it's I know that there are people that have had bad experiences. We're lucky, in essence, where we are with our neighbors. I know my husband is very, like I said, he's a recluse, so this place works for him. And the other time he was busy washing his car, and our neighbor came, spoke to him. It's like, I guess people that are quiet gravitate to other quiet people. He just doesn't. I'm the one that's very. I like talking to people, and South Africans, us. We want to just, hey, how are you? Hey, let's have a braai. Braai is a barbecue. What are you like drinking? No. And I guess it's mostly Yorubas. I find them, they don't just talk to just anyone. My sister-in-law is probably the same. She works with people, but when she's home, she's home. But I am blessed, guys. So that's the part about I spoke about the language, the food, how he's navigating his surroundings. Obviously, making friends is also. I find that making friends is difficult. I won't lie. But then in our age, you don't just make friends anyway. So I suppose you would say in your 20s, it was easier to make friends. And then along the way, the numbers start to dwindle. You just meet acquaintances, right? So it's either people from church, you can meet, people from gym and all of that, but it's not necessarily a friendship. I know I only have probably just one person that I can consider a friend here. Otherwise, you make acquaintances and you just move along. Age doesn't allow you to go and hang out. So he does that a lot. For hobbies, we I guess Nigerians are not really about hobbies. I always say, like, I have to push him to travel, right? To get out there. I'm the one that's always out there, being a South African, Most again, we like to just I guess we're Western that way. You want to eat different foods, travel, get into trouble while doing it, so he's about, nah. And I like the thing about Nigerians that way. When you get into trouble, they say, what were you doing there? Who sent you? Yeah, who sent you? And then he sometimes says, like, hey, if I tell him about a problem that I had somewhere where I went, he's like, who's his father? Like, who is this person, basically? So it's all about, in our case, opposites attract in so many levels. But I am spoiled, I am loved. That's all that counts. So, guys, I know it's a Sunday. Please, thank you so much for your support. I was supposed to start with the people that have time to watch me. I appreciate you, those that are new, and those that are still, continuing to support me. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. There's a lot happening in the world, So being in a different country and being, staying safe, that's what counts. The world for me right now, it's upside down. So I'm not too sure where you're watching me from. Wherever you are, please keep safe. These are changing times. 2026. I saw in South Africa there was a flood in Kruger National Park. It's like the biggest. There's quite animals, the big five, sorry, animals there. So I hope the animals are safe rather. The world is changing. So I don't want to be ignorant about that. So I appreciate you taking your time. I do these things just to also, you are my therapist out there, ladies and gents. So appreciate you. So I will see you in the next one. I didn't have time to get somebody to join me. So I'll be doing these live chats, doing my own therapy, one-on-one with you, and you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good Sunday, Monday, the rest of the week. Take care. Bye-bye.